Welcome to Rebecca Sounds Reveille. What a treat I have for you today, because I have someone who is all the way across the globe coming to share her story with you. She is a well-renowned author, and her first piece was awarded a special merit by the International Library of Poetry. She's received a lot. She's going to tell us how many. Numerous international awards, and she was published in the anthology An Endless Place. She talks about how she began her career, in writing, but I don't want to go there just yet. I'm not giving it to you. She's been published in a number of anthologies. She's been in several magazines, along with newspapers galore. And I love this because this is what it's about. When you have a passion for something, move on it, get out there, get all of that shown, because it's important. Your passion is important, and so is hers. And hers is going to really make a difference in some things in your world as you get to know her. Journalist Cathy McQueen compared her to author Sylvia Plath. And if you know who that is, she made a huge difference in writing and poetry. And I'm not going to go into that because that's not who we're talking about today. But today, our guest is known for Untold Story 2021, Sounds of Silver Doves Cry, No More Goodbyes, Beautiful Attack, and Sanguinity. She studied, I love this, and this is really the biggest clue here for you. She studied, at Sydney Business and Development. So welcome with me to the show, Catherine Basilicata. Welcome.
Thank you. Welcome. Thank you.
I love that you are so passionate about all of the things that you've been getting out there. You are just on fire with incredible things. But before I get to all of these things that are going on, I really want to know how you got started, because you have a story that I think people are really going to want to hear, and there's going to be some things about it they're going to be able to identify with it. So do tell me how you got started.
Okay. Began when I actually flatlined in hospital from Sydney for 3 minutes because I kept getting in major infections that was undiagnosed for quite a few years. And in hospital, they found a hospital bacteria inside me, which is only found in the hospital, not in the community. And I was sent to an immunologist, found that I had immunoglobulin deficiency, where where all your IG levels, IgA, IgG, IgM, all those play a part in your immune system. So I kept getting major infections. So without government antibiotics, I would not recover via intravenously as well. And the treatment for that was Instagram blood infusion every 3 weeks. I had lost so much weight as well.
It's so intense.
Yeah, and like a pen came to my hand. I just started writing because I've gone through so much in my life with what I've endured, what I've witnessed, what I've seen, what I've actually had to overcome in relationships, dangerous relationships, dangerous events too. And it's just beyond so much.
So you started writing because of all of these events that took place, and these are so devastating. When you wake up from being flatlined, I can't even imagine what you're trying to understand about your surroundings, about what's going on with you, and then on top of it, to have a series of events that continued just on, and you're just trying to heal, and you're delivered one kind of blow after another. But what I think is so exciting about what you did is you said, I really need to get this, I need to pin this and get this out there. And I'm going to guess you've got to share with me, how healing was that just in itself?
A release and outcome. For me, by me writing it, it also, in my mind, I was thinking I wanted it to help others as well, because with my first book, I received so much contact from people wanting to know how they said that they actually said to me, they actually told me that it actually helped them with their circumstances. And so I knew that with that, I've got so much more to say that it will attract masses, everyone, as much people I can help with my experiences.
That just gives me so much joy to hear you share that you have turned something into helping others. And so not only did it help you, but it's been this huge ripple effect, and it's continuing to happen. One of the questions I have is, oftentimes when we come out of some type of sedation, we don't remember things. And I'm wondering, just through your writing, as you started to write, did your brain, when it started coming out on paper, bring back memories that you weren't thinking of at the time? They just started flowing out.
Correct. Exactly.
Yes.
Yes, exactly. Just like reeling, raw passion. It just flowed out. And it was a release for me. And the people that actually read it going, oh, my God, you actually went through this? Oh, my God, you're still alive. Oh, my God, how did you handle that, you know? So these are all little stories that combine into one huge, like, series of story. Like, it's just huge.
I think this is incredible. And so I want to take a moment just to share with the audience, if you've ever been told, if you're feeling anxious or depressed, or you want to work through some problems, start journaling. This is probably the best description I could ever give you to support doing that, because your brain releases something. And one of the things that I share, Catherine, with a lot of people when I work with them, with a lot of victims, is that I tell them, when you write something, don't type, don't go in there and try to type. There's something that goes from the brain and it goes right out through your hand. And there's something different about that in itself. And I really don't know what all of that is, but there's just so much proof that I have seen in different outcomes by doing that. And this, even, I'm just so excited to hear that. So from there, what was your first writing that came out publicly? Do you remember?
Well, it was a spiel. So that started with me with the special. What I did was, is it actually really good? I was thinking to myself. So what I did was, I found out later with everything that happened after, but I sent it to the International Library of Poetry, and they gave me special merit, one piece, and then they continued doing it. And it was not just special merit, but I kept winning all these awards, and my God, and then they placed me in all their anthologies, all of it, internationally, and also which that led to all these newspapers, local newspapers, even journalists of magazines interviewed me. It's just so vast, you know.
It's so exciting. I mean, you had to, when you started getting when the first award came, I bet you were just so overwhelmed. And when they kept coming, I can't even imagine how to be even more excited than that first one. But your work is so good.
Yes.
It is
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
good.
I've been told that.
Yes.
I still can't learn it. Yeah, it is. It is.
Do you think your love for the language started when you were young? I know, I mean, let me share with
Yes.
you why I say that, because I can remember being in, I think it was my freshman year of high school, and in the English class, and as I started to learn some things about literature and poetry, I was just taken by the language and
Yes.
wanted to absorb it like a sponge, because there was so many different ways you could use these words and how descriptive they were for what you were feeling inside. And that never left me. So I'm wondering
It was
if that was kind
creativity.
of, mhm.
Creativity it was for me. And I just started writing. I was in my teens, actually. And
So
what I
me
did,
too. Okay.
I was like journaling. I had like a diary, like a
Yes.
diary. But in literature, English, they teach you um, like nonfiction, and that sort of like in school, and my passion was there. It's always been there, you know, and I did start when I was very, very, very young and writing in a journal, and I just didn't think it would, it would be something that I would do like permanently, but it did, when you look back
Mm-hmm.
and to the point now, it's fathomable. Like, it's just amazing.
I so love it. I think that this is really exciting. And I want to ask you, in your opinion, I mean, which do you think is more difficult, finding a good publisher or publishing on your own? Because there's a lot of people writing out there and they're kind of like, I'm not sure exactly what to do. So
I know.
for those of us who kind of been through this, I want your opinion, and I'll share with you a little bit about mine, and the audience can kind of gather some things from what we talk about.
Yeah. Well, I'm an administrator for Publish Your Book on Facebook. So I get a lot of those questions.
Okay, good.
And so if they believe they can self-publish and they find it extremely difficult to do that, but my first advice would be is to send your copy of your work, resume, and to try 10 publishers at least first. Wait for the answer before you self-publish. That's my advice.
That's some good advice. And the only thing I'm going to throw in there with that is, when you're looking at publishers, make sure that they are going to be a fit for what niche you have. So, for example, mine was so, so special that to get it picked up with a major publisher was going to be really difficult. And I knew that it was. So I went the self-publishing route. But that's really challenging to do that, because you have to do all your own marketing, and there's a lot more in that. But I really like what you are recommending here, in that
But it's
um,
real.
yes, yes, because that really gives someone who is trying to get their work out an opportunity for it to get seen by some people who can make a difference, and it gives you a lot of different options. And I think, I don't know, what the climate we're in, and we have this pandemic going on. I know that there's a lot of people are at home and they are sitting down wondering what to do with their time, or maybe they've started writing a little bit. And I say go for it. But in the meantime, you should be reading Catherine's work, because you're going to get totally inspired, and you're going to learn a
That's
lot.
right. Yeah.
Seriously, you're going to learn a lot, because if you haven't taken a lot of classes on English and you want to know how to learn the flow of writing, the more you read poetry, the more your brain will be able to understand and decipher different things. And your work is incredibly, you're just a very gifted writer and someone that has so much creativity. I was so amazed when you talked about a raven and how that interconnected, blew my mind. And I'm not going to say anything more than that because I really want the audience to go, what is she talking about? And go look for it,
exactly.
because it's a really great piece of work that you did. And I can only imagine how many awards you have received for that one, because that is mind blowing.
Yeah, it is. Thing is,
It is.
exactly. And a lot of my work, the pieces, they're actually stories that actually like full on story. And some of the stories, like even, I don't know whether I can say this on air, but there's even an experience with like,
This is gonna be
good. Let's just say I had an experience where I was stalked by someone that was in the mafia that I did not know. But yeah. So, but I was saved by someone that was.
This is going to be something you definitely want to read. And I'm thinking here, as you're saying this, well, maybe she's bartering her poetry for safety. Because it's that good. It's like money. Here, I've got a poem for you. I mean, but no, all joking aside, stalking is not okay. And it's actually very terrifying.
Yeah. I've been physically abused as well.
It's interesting that you say that. And have you done, or are you going to do any type of writing for victims or for aggressors when it comes to that? Because you have insight that only someone that's been in that position can understand.
Yes. Well, I'm working on my next book, and I wanted to really address it to those type of victims. It's just really, it's very scary for people that have gone through it. And I can understand why they'd be trapped in a relationship for many, many years and stuck in it. And you have to literally have the strength to get that person out of your life in order to live.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. I have worked with victims of domestic violence since, oh gosh, this is going back 2003. Actually earlier than that, quite a bit earlier. And I've been researching it much longer than that. And so one of the biggest things that I have been asked, like the questions that you get for writing, I get asked about victimization. Why doesn't the victim leave? And so I try to share with people, it's not as simple as you think it is. First things on the plate is that most oftentimes things in a relationship, an abusive relationship, are not spoken to anybody else. So trying to get out, or when you're going to make that break and telling a family member or a friend, they're absolutely surprised and taken by what you're saying. The other thing is there's so many reasons. It can be financial manipulation. It can be threats. It can be, I vowed to be with that person and I'm not breaking a vow, or I am very religious and I'm not breaking that vow that I made to God. Or there is a host of things that can really make it difficult to leave a situation. Plus, you're tired. And you have to have an exit strategy where that person isn't going to come and attempt to find you and bring you back into this unhealthy situation again. I like how you said that you're...
Because I went through all of that. It's not just physical, it was financial.
Yes. That's a big thing. I think a lot of people don't understand. Now, what's exciting is at the beginning of the show, I shared that you are across the globe, and I did say that you had studied in Sydney. So tell the audience where you are.
I am in Port Kembla, New South Wales, Australia. That's
I love this
right now.
This is awesome. Okay, so one of the things to go with that, I will share that here in the United States, many victims don't realize that each state has a victims compensation fund. So if they end up having, say, law enforcement go out and there's a situation, they can go to victim services. The victim services will pull up the police report and be able to offer funding, some as much as $35,000 for a victim they'll give that to a victim to relocate and get out of that relationship. Right.
Yeah.
How is it where you are? Is it similar?
Yeah, there's like a company called SASI, SAI.
Okay.
And that protects you. Like if you do have a home, they make sure that they change the locks for you, protect you to make sure that you have an AVO against your partner. They make sure, like financially, like they'll get like a guardian and financial maintenance, like to help you.
Okay.
So to make sure that, say, if, for instance, if you are going through a settlement or divorce or something like that, to make sure that the other person does not get back, like try to breach it by, say, taking your money. And they can't do that because your money's tied up with the financial management.
This is interesting. And it's interesting how different it is, but that seems pretty significant in a way to help a victim really be safe. And I know here, and I'm going to guess human behavior is pretty much the same all across the globe, but cultures do have a little disparity. So I will ask here, it's really a challenge sometimes when you're filing an emergency protective order, because sometimes that's the most dangerous time. The aggressor is like, oh, how could you get me in trouble? And I'm not going to have things restricted. I'm not going to have my movements restricted. And that's that. And when you leave is the most volatile times for someone that's making a report. Is it the same there, or what do you think?
But well, with my case, I was actually in a hospital and the two detectives actually came to see me and interviewed me, and with the social worker made me put the AVO. So she was actually in the room with me.
Okay.
And so they did it that way. So the person had left. So I was like somewhere else. That way the person can't attack me. So, and they did it by like removing any dangerous objects from the property.
Okay.
As well, like such as firearm, etc.
Right. That's really smart. That's the smart thing to do because it's so intense. Emotions are so high at that time. And your story is going to be an incredible testimony for those who are in a similar situation. And you're going to be able to share such fantastic advice because you've been through this. And what I really like is that even though we're across the globe, these things are going to be applicable to anybody who's in this situation. And it's nice to be able to bounce this from you and say, okay, well, how about over there? Is it like this? And yeah. I do like a lot more of the involvement though, even though I know that people are you really don't like others getting involved in your business. But in these circumstances, this is the number one, and pretty much the number one risk of danger calls for service for law enforcement that go out to the homes, because game is on. They know that the aggressor knows that more than likely that they're going to be arrested and their freedoms are going to be taken away. And there's this sense of loss of control that they don't want to give up. So that it's very volatile situation, not only for law enforcement, because oftentimes we're seeing things now where the victim is harmed, the children in the harm are harmed in the home, and so is the person that is making the issue to begin with. So I don't even like going there, but we're seeing this on the rise just unbelievably. And so I really like that you're going to be doing this. And I think one of the things I want to really point out for anybody who's listening, one, find a mentor, somebody who's been through this, and make sure that you are.
That's what I did. I had a mentor after who was telling me everything I did was great. She said, "It's amazing you did this on your own," she said. And like with the book, it doesn't just touch that, it touches everything else that I've been through. And it, like, nobody can believe, people that actually know me, they still can't fathom how I'm still here today and how I've got a smile on my face, how I see things positively, and I don't let anything get me down. I'm actually a more upbeat person now that, you know, like the past is the past.
Yes. And you're able to see things. I think the perspective
Really.
is so different, and it really allows you to bring joy in once you can kind of break that chain and say, I don't need to be tied to those emotions anymore, and I'm getting healthy. And you're doing it. And I want to share with the audience also, because you've been through that, the joy and the inspiration and the beauty from all of these things that you've experienced is coming out through your writing, and your work will definitely bring a new perspective to people as they are going through the situation and trying to maneuver through it. Just reading your work as it is, poetry and things like that. This is just incredible. Let me ask you a question too. What direction are you going to be going over in the next year? Are you going to do any speaking engagements, or, I mean, even virtually, or any other things that might be going on?
Well, the next Saturday, this Saturday, the 28th, I'm going to be on Chat and Spin Radio. They're interviewing me. Again, this will be my third time.
Excellent.
With them, and it'll be live international broadcast and recorded as well. And they're in the UK, so
that'll be exciting.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's going to be exciting. So you're going to end up continuing to get interview after interview, and you're going to continue to release more work. And I really want the audience to connect with you on so many levels. Do you want the audience to connect with you on Facebook or Instagram? And if so, where can they go?
Okay. I have Facebook, which is under my Catherine Basilicata, and my Instagram page is also Catherine.Basilicata. What else? I've even got Twitter, which is Catherine Basilicata. Sorry.
And if they want a copy of your book, they can head on over to Amazon.
Amazon and Kindle. And and there's going to be so much media exposure surrounding it, such as Pinterest. My publisher told me so many so many ones that they're not at the top of my mind right now.
That's okay, because if we can get the audience to connect with you on your social media feeds, you'll be posting things as you go, and they'll be able to connect with the links that you post and things like that. So that's totally okay.
Yeah, but I also have an email address if they want to know any updates, for instance.
Yes, let's hear it.
Yes, okay. Capital C. Catherine, by the way, with the capital C, ATHERINE, capital BASILICATA @gmail.com. So
excellent.
One word, Catherine Basilicata, but with a capital C and a capital B.
Excellent. I want to thank you so much for sharing your story, for giving me inspiration. I know that those that are reading it inspired, and there's so much in your work that is changing perspectives and habits, and will also provide at least one person to change the direction that they're going in their life, and it's going to be a lot better. And I'm excited to see about what you're doing. I want to thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for inviting me.
Love
Thank
this.
you.
I can't wait to see more.
Yes, me too.
I'm just so jazzed. And I want to thank all of you for tuning into another episode of Rebecca Sounds Reveille. I really would like you to connect with Catherine, because there's so many of you who have unspoken needs in this area that we talked about. Just on the domestic violence level, definitely connect, because I think that the things that you're going to find that you might need to make some changes, this is going to give them to you. So do connect. Plus, you want to connect, and you've got to read her work. I'm telling you, there is just so much joy in it, so much creativity, and you're going to gain a lot. Share this with everybody you know on social media, all of your friends and family, and those even coworkers or someone that you might suspect needs a little bit of a boost. Tell them, hey, I've got something that you've got to read, or this is an author you've got to connect with. You're gonna be glad that you did. Thanks for tuning in to another episode.